Hi guys, and welcome to my review of this week's Monday Night Raw. So this episode ended up opening with Io Sky and Rhea Ripley coming out to start the show, or Rio as they seem to be now calling themselves. We basically had them essentially pulling themselves into the tag team title picture, that they wanted a shot at the tag team titles against the Kabuki Warriors. This was interrupted by Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, who obviously were their partners at War Games. They were all kind of like basically who were essentially coming out and essentially also kind of feeling that they had the title shot at the tag team titles, and so this was all going to be essentially resolved by this, and because we seen when wrestling episodes of Raw and SmackDown go live now, there's very rarely a main event planned, so we basically did the usual stuff where Adam Pearce was basically just like, well, thank God this interaction happened because this can be now our main event. So this is what we essentially get. We essentially have this locked in now as our main event, that Rio and Io Sky are basically going to go up against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for kind of a contenders match. So we had basically followed this up with the semi-final tournament for the John Cena tour between Jey Uso and LA Knight. I thought this was a really solid match, most notably because I found there was not a massive shock, but the fact that LA Knight ended up picking up a win here was a moderate surprise. I had convinced myself the final was going to be another Jey Uso and Gunther encounter, so that was kind of like a pleasant surprise. I mean, and I don't mean that disparagingly to Jey Uso. I'm not one of the Jey Uso haters by any means, but yeah, I did feel it was quite refreshing to see LA Knight pick up a win here. The other thing about this was once this match was over, we didn't kind of move on. We focused on Jey and how he had kind of like his response to taking this loss. We essentially see Jey Uso kind of crashing out here, which I thought was just another really layer, because people have been talking about a potential Jey Uso heel turn, and I've never found myself struggling to envision Jey Uso doing a full-blown heel turn, just because of how over with a crowd he is, and that the interaction that he has with the crowd, and the merch that he must be selling for WWE and all that. I find it difficult to envision a full-blown heel turn, at least at this point. But I do think that this kind of crash out moved the needle, and it did make us. I can envision a bit more clearer now a Jey Uso heel turn. I don't think it's going to happen. I think that we are going to go down this road with Jey Uso, which we've already kind of started, where he isn't a heel, but we definitely learn down this kind of murky kind of path where he can maybe act a little bit heelish at times, and I think that essentially what we've kind of got here. So it'll be intriguing to see how it all kind of unfolds. But yeah, I thought that was another interesting layer to this. So we had basically then got a backstage segment, but where Adam Pearce is talking to referee. He basically wants the referee to kind of go like a bit undercover here, in light of the masked hoodie that we got at the end of Survivor Series that interrupted and attacked CM Punk and gave him the stomp to for Bron Breakker to pick up a division to pick up the win. And I've already said that out of everything on Survivor Series, this was the thing I didn't like the most, and it's not that we basically got this the introduction of this mystery of a hooded person, because I think that's. I mean, it has been overused in WWE now, so it's a bit tiresome in that respect, but it's never really bothered me. It is just one of those kind of like overused gimmicks that you kind of like have kind of come to expect. So I can roll with it, but the thing I didn't like was the implication that it was Seth Rollins, because we knew that it wasn't Seth Rollins, right? We kind of, I know I'm going to get really nerdy and nitpicky here, but basically when I say this, but for starters, the build of this hooded figure doesn't match the figure of Seth Rollins, but also more to the point that we know it's not Seth Rollins. Excuse me. We know it's not Seth Rollins because in no world would that make sense. It doesn't make sense in reality with the time frame of Seth Rollins' injury, and it certainly doesn't make any sense within the world of kayfabe here. So we know that when Seth Rollins returns, we know that he is going to have revenge on his mind against Bron Breakker and the Vision. And I don't think that his disdain for CM Punk is going to overrule that in any way. So yeah, by kind of default, I didn't like this backstage segment either, because this just ended up kind of continuing down that vein, where he had basically been saying that there had been spottings of Seth Rollins going backstage without a sling and all of this. So we're still kind of continuing with this mystery, and I don't mind this continuation of this mystery, but yeah, I'm not liking this continuing tease on it, Seth Rollins. So yeah, I have to kind of give that segment a thumbs down. We then basically got a tag team match between AJ Styles and Dragon Lee versus a New Day. This was another really solid match. Obviously, you have four really great in-ring performers here. We had AJ Styles and Dragon Lee predictably picking up a win in a spectacular fashion, where we basically had Dragon Lee delivering this double stomp, and this ended up catapulting Kofi Kingston off the top of a rope into this Styles clash for them to pick up a win. So yeah, just a really kind of like spectacular finish to that match. Like I said, really good in-ring performances here. I keep on saying this whenever the New Day appear, is I do feel like that the New Day are kind of getting a little bit buried here, or at least they're certainly not being utilised to the best of their potential, because I really like the amusing segments that they basically do. I really like their in-ring performances. I think they work really well as heels, but they're just not being utilised to the best of their abilities. I think both Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods are phenomenal performers. Kofi Kingston especially is a guy I have a lot of respect for. So yeah, I feel like having them as these kind of like sidelined heel clowns, I just feel like as amusing as I find it, I do think it's a waste of their talents, and that so so yeah, basically, I mean, I've basically made these comments on the New Day before, so I'm not kind of gonna bang on about it anymore. But yeah, so we'll move on. We basically had the Vision coming out then with Logan Paul. So it seems, at least for the time being, that Logan Paul is going to be a more full-time member of the Vision. We'll have to see how that pans out. But yeah, he was still very much considered part of the Vision here. We had Paul Heyman kind of was confirming this, it kind of basically inducting him into the Vision here. But the real standout of this segment was that we basically got Bron Breakker promo, who just cut the most fire promo I've seen in a while, especially from. I don't want to say Bron Breakker is a newcomer, but hopefully people like kind of know what I mean. Who, you know, we don't tend to see Bron Breakker on the mic too often. So yeah, this was just a really fire promo by Bron Breakker, and just was able just to get so much heat, and so he yeah, just so fire. We had basically CM Punk was essentially the target of all of this fire. It was basically announced that on the 5th of January on episode of Raw, we are going to get a title match between CM Punk and Bron Breakker, which seems like a massive title match for a random episode of Raw. So we'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, real fire promo by Bron Breakker, I gotta say. And we then moved on to the second semi-final of the John Cena tournament between Gunther and Solo Sikoa. This was arguably the standout of the match, the match that was a standout of the night, sorry, should I say. And I really wasn't expecting it. I really was expecting a kind of an average match at best. I did kind of like, there was never a doubt in my mind Gunther was going to pick up a win here, but the way that it kind of twisted and turned and had you basically kind of all these little swerves and all of these like moments where and spots in the match where you were generally questioning whether Solo Sikoa could actually win here, and all this, and we basically had this the styles of Gunther and Solo Sikoa was kind of complementing each other in this match, and it was just a solid to and fro match with so many 1-2 counts here. Just a really solid match. I mean, it did end up predictably with Gunther picking up the win, as it essentially came down to Solo Sikoa was trying to utilize Tali Tonga on the outside to pick up the win here. The referee ended up catching it, and while the referee was dealing with Tali Tonga, this essentially ended giving Gunther the opportunity to get a low blow on Solo Sikoa and pick up the win. So it'll end up kind of just becoming one of these matches where it's kind of like heel versus heel, and it just ends up being a case of Gunther out cheating Solo Sikoa, who was also trying to cheat. So So yeah, but yeah, from an in-ring perspective, from a storytelling perspective, this was a really solid match, I have to say. So we then moved on to the main event between Rhea Ripley and Io Sky against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss for this contenders match. Again, this was another really solid match. There were spots in here that kind of like played on the historical rivalry between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair. There were some really nice spots. So and again, I've been there's been a few of these main events on Raw. I kind of like have to repeat myself here, but I do feel like it was from an in-ring perspective. I think it was a solid match. I do feel like it was only let down by maybe the predictability of the outcome here. I really was really hoping and praying we were going to get some sort of clean win, and if we were going to get some distractions, it was all going to be kind of like after the match was over. But I knew that there was going to be distractions and run-ins here, and from the Kabuki Warriors. I was expecting Nia Jackson, Lash Legend to pull up an appearance here. They had been when they were talking about the tag team contendership. They had been just suspiciously quiet here. Obviously, they were the other duo that were involved in the War Games were the Kabuki Warriors, and shall we just call him Rio now? So it just felt like um, so yeah, I was just kind of like expecting Nia Jackson, Lash Legend to put an appearance here, but that was the only surprising thing that they didn't put an appearance here. So because we had the Kabuki Warriors come in to basically cause a disqualification. We then had and then I kind of felt that Nia Jackson, Lash Legend coming out then would have also made sense in light of the spot that we got at War Games with Oscar inadvertently missed in Lash Legend. I thought I don't know when you would do that spot other than to kind of set up a tag team feud there. So that was another reason why I was expecting at this point Nia Jackson, Lash Legend to be the next tag team to come out. But we didn't. We got a Bailey and Lyra Valkyria coming out, which was a swerve. And then we had the Judgment Day coming out. And it seemed like I haven't even talked about that, have we? We had we earlier in the episode we also had Liv Morgan coming out with the Judgment Day to cut this promo, and this mixed in with Judgment Day getting involved in the main event here. It seems to be that we've what we're based, because going into this episode of Raw, I was a bit unsure on where we were going to go with the New Day, with the Judgment Day here, because prior to obviously Survivor Series, we had been seeing this little kind of like narrative where Dominic Mysterio was gradually getting pushed out of the New Day. We could see Dominic Mysterio kind of going on his own, or maybe or at least Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan kind of separated from the Judgment Day. You could have also got to this point by when Liv Morgan returns. There could be some spice between Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez, what with obviously when last time Liv Morgan was in action, she was part of the tag team champions with Raquel Rodriguez, and there had been this reluctance to have Roxanne Perez involved in the Judgment Day, and now she's back, and suddenly the dynamics between Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez have obviously changed significantly to the point that they are now the tag team titles. So there was a potential of having some real spice there, which you could have utilised to spin Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan off in their own direction. But that wasn't what we got here. And I'm a little sad for that, because it was kind of like spice that I kind of like wanted to see play out. But it seems to be that we're not really doing that anymore. Because it does seem to be that we're more having the return of Liv Morgan to hit a reset with a Judgment Day and to give them this push. The episode essentially ended up with the Judgment Day, or Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, and Roxanne Perez, should I say, coming out and kind of like clearing the ring and being the stable that kind of ends up standing tall. We did get this reference to where they were with the tag team. It was where basically Roxanne Perez had acknowledged that the last time Liv Morgan was in action, it was her being part of the tag team champions with Raquel Rodriguez. We saw Roxanne Perez acknowledging this and offering Liv Morgan her belt to kind of like try and bring Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez back as a tag team, but we had Liv Morgan declining this and putting the belt back on Roxanne Perez, and I guess kind of like giving a blessing to Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez being this tag team now. So yeah, I guess that's kind of like where we're at with the Judgment Day, but we're going to basically end up giving the Judgment Day this reset, and we're going to give them this big push, which I'm here for. I'm all for that. But yeah, there is a part of me that is a little bit kind of like sad that we seemingly aren't going to that it isn't seemingly going to go in the direction that we first thought, where we were going to have Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan spin off, and on the route to that we were going to see all these kind of like little spicy interactions between Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez. There's a little bit of that kind of like wanted to see that. So but yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. So yeah, that essentially ends up being the note though this episode of Raw ended on. So yeah, we'll just have to see how the rest of the events unfold. Yeah, that pretty much concludes my review, guys. So yeah, thank you guys for taking the time to watch this video. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more, don't forget to ring that bell for notifications. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Please feel free to let me know down in the comment section about what your thoughts on this episode of Raw was. We'll be intrigued to get your feedbacks on where you think things are going from here on out. And yeah, until next time, I will see you guys on the next video. You guys take care.